Well, when will interest rates drop again? It's a question many Australian mortgage holders are continuing to ponder as the cost of living continues to cause pain for many. Joining me live is Flaherty, REA Group economist. And it's a big question, this one, and those stubborn inflation numbers getting many experts to say this will happen later rather than earlier.
That's right. Expectations of an interest rate cut have been pushed back by the market. The most recent inflation figures were, I think, quite concerning to a lot of people. Yes, they did continue that trend of annual decline. However, they did increase from what we saw over the December quarter.
Yeah, exactly. Now, rental market continues to be an issue. Rents have generally increased across the country.
Yeah, well, we saw rents rise even further over the first 3 months of this year. What we're continuing to see is that the supply of rental properties is dropping. And when we look at the total number of homes available for rent, say this year compared to 10-year average levels, we're down between 25 to 55% across a lot of Australia's suburbs. So there's just really very little stock out there, which means that there remains incredibly high competition for those homes that do hit the market.
Absolutely. And the new rental listings are tracking even lower than last year's levels.
Well, that's right. I think this time last year, people were saying, when is it going to improve? And the reality is that we've seen conditions actually worsen. So unless we start to see a meaningful increase to the total number of homes hitting the market, I think we're going to continue to see that trend of more people living in a smaller number of homes. So, people staying longer with mum and dad, more people moving into share houses. The reality is that when the population is growing, but the supply of housing is not keeping up, people need to live somewhere. So, people are going to get more creative, I think, with basically making do with the amount of rental accommodation out there.
Absolutely. Now, what are the suburbs where rents have increased the most?
Well, we are seeing it across the board, but there are definitely a few standout regions. Western Australia in particular has seen a lot of suburbs increase very dramatically. Now, this is both across the greater Perth region and also in a lot of regional areas, especially mining towns, some of which have seen rents up 50% over the past year. If we look to New South Wales, Parramatta has been an outperformer in terms of rent growth, but we are seeing very strong rises in rents across the entirety of Greater Sydney. If we turn to Melbourne, the areas that have really outperformed are the eastern suburbs. So around Box Hill, Doncaster, Don Vale, those are the areas where we've seen a very rapid rises. But across the board, it's really there are very few suburbs in Australia that have actually seen rents slide over the past year.
On the sale market or the sales market, busy couple of weekends, plenty of auctions about over the next couple of weekends.
That's right. It's not a great time to be a renter, but it actually is a pretty good time to be a buyer. We've seen a really strong auction market, a really strong selling market over the past few months. Normally what we see is on the other side of Easter, sales activity dips quite significantly. But this year it's been a little different, and we've continued to see really high levels of homes hit the market. And especially over the next 3 weeks, we've actually got a lot of homes coming up for auction, much more than what we saw at the same time last year. So from a buyer's perspective, there's actually a lot of choice out there at the moment.
Yeah, and if you look hard enough, there's a few deals here and there.
Yeah, I think that's the trick. You have to look out for them. They can be hard to find. And interestingly, a lot of those suburbs I was talking about with those strong rental rises are also the suburbs that are seeing the fewest deals in a way. And that's because those are the areas that are seeing the biggest increases in demand for people looking to move into those areas, whether they're renters or buyers.
Absolutely. And great to chat. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too. Thank you.